Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. I've been having a text exchange with an American kid this last couple of days or so in the comment section of one of my previous videos about Respawn Entertainment, of which I've had nearly 300 views on it. Wow, didn't know I'd get that many. Anyway, it essentially involved the issue of map sizes, and this video is just to reinforce what I said before regarding Respawn Entertainment, as they make tiny little maps for tiny little teams and they don't have much imagination. I've just been watching some gameplay from Titanfall and it's more or less confirmed what I said in that previous video, in that the maps breadth and length sizes are more or less essentially the same as you would find in any Call of Duty or Modern Warfare map. Respawn Entertainment have expanded the playing area a little bit by going upwards, but essentially the maps are exactly the same in the design. They're small, they're constricted with narrow paths of entry and the gameplay is like any Call of Duty or Modern Warfare. It's fast in your face gameplay. You would think that with a new company they would have decided to do something radically different, in that they decided to move away from the Modern Warfare franchises, which, as you know, there's a glut of them on the market, and do something radically different. The Battlefield 4 and the previous Battlefield, you could get inside vehicles and drive, because Battlefield is synonymous with vehicles. As I said in my previous video, a first-person shooter version of the APB third-person shooter game, that would have been different. You got customizable characters, cops, and you have the customizable characters, gangs, each with a selection of weapons that the unlock system you could have. Instead of driving around in a tank, all the cars in the citywide map you could get in, or the trucks or buses or wherever, because in Battlefield, as you know, more than one player can drive around in the tank. So the coding is there to do it, but why didn't they think of things like that when they were all sat around in that photograph when Respawn was just starting off? Did none of them have any imagination? They seem to have just fallen back onto what they do, making small fast-paced games, and they simply borrowed the idea of Battlefield 2142 with the giant mechanical robot type things. That's not imagination, that's not what we expected from a company with a pedigree of Respawn Entertainment. They are just a one-trick pony by the looks of things. Maybe their next game they might decide to branch out, because as you know, Battlefield 4 on the Xbox now can handle 64 players, and they've got the size maps for them, even though some of the maps on Battlefield 4 I could safely imagine 64 players playing it. Maybe not Operation Locker, because that's like a linear little map, and Operation Metro, but even those two, if you expanded them out sideways, the room to flank, you could handle more than the current 32 versus 32. But anyway, back on subject. Respawn Entertainment, they'll do reasonably well, but I think that they've passed their peak with the Call of Duty and Modern Warfare franchise. Modern Warfare 2 was probably the peak that they're going to ever achieve. I only bought Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 because it was a three-part story, but with the conclusion of the thread started in Call of Duty 4 and Captain Price being the sole survivor of the story, then it's goodbye Infinity Ward and goodbye Call of Duty. Don't bother with Ghost because I'm not an American, and as I said in a previous long video I did, these first-person shooter games are just too American-centric. I wish DICE had had more factions than just the Russians, the Yanks and the Chinese. But as it is, there's too many first-person shooters based on Modern Warfare, and a futuristic shooter is not really all that different. It's just essentially science fiction meets Modern Warfare. Whereas if you'd fallen back to the contemporary time of now and cops versus gangs, say on a citywide environment, the Grand Theft Auto, that's a really good example of how a city can be designed. But there again, Respawn Entertainment just makes small team games for small maps, and unless they're gonna break away from that niche that they're in, I don't think they're gonna do as well as they thought they will, because the new generation consoles, they are not restricted as such with the networking ability as what the 360 and the PlayStation 3 was. Anyway, that's just my what's the word? Not review. Reloaded version of what I said before, and a reinforcement of the essential points I did in that video. Anything more I wanted to comment on? No, not really. Looks like the biathlon's finished. Ukraine man have got the gold. That's going to be interesting once the Olympics are over and it kicks off. Anyway, that's a different topic altogether now. Anyway, you know what the routine is. Like, dislike, wherever it is. It's all up to you. Oh, one last thing. I've noticed in the stats, most of my audience now, if you can call it that, is from Kuwait, which is remarkable. I didn't expect the Arabs in Kuwait to take much notice of my monologue ramblings to a camcorder, so if it is, then hello Kuwait, nice to have you on board. Anyway, I'm rambling now, so you know the routine. Like, dislike, wherever, it's all up to you. So next time, bye.